Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Welcome to Study with Anabia podcasts. In today's episode, we'll discuss the body's hidden symphony, our very own digestive system.
You know that universal feeling after a really good meal? That sort of satisfied sigh?
Oh, yeah.
Definitely. We rarely stop to think about the incredible journey that food just started inside us. We pop it in, and then, well, it's almost like magic, isn't it?
It really feels that way sometimes.
Well, today on the deep dive, we're pulling back the curtain on that silent, sophisticated, biological machine, your digestive system.
It's a journey, and we want this to be tailored for you, cutting through the jargon.
Exactly, giving you those aha moments about how your body truly works.
It's a process we absolutely take for granted, isn't it? Our mission today is, well, to give you a shortcut to understanding the ingenious mechanisms that convert, say, a plate of food into the energy and building blocks your body desperately needs.
Get ready to see your internal workings in a whole new light.
Absolutely.
Because food isn't just about satisfying hunger, right? It's our sole source of chemical energy. It provides those crucial nutrients for building new tissues, repairing damaged ones.
But here's the fundamental challenge, Most food molecules are simply too large for our cells to absorb and use directly.
Too big to just get in.
Exactly.
Right.
That's where the digestive system steps in, breaking them down into absorbable forms.
And if we think about the scale of this system, it's pretty remarkable.
It really is. The digestive tract itself presents this massive surface area, constantly interacting with the external environment, the food you eat.
Right, everything coming in.
Yet it's intricately linked to your cardiovascular system, with blood vessels running right alongside it. That close association is, well, absolutely essential for efficiently processing everything you eat.
And getting those nutrients to where they need to go throughout your body.
Precisely.
So how is this incredible processing plant actually built? You mentioned two main groups of organs.
That's right. First, you have what's called the gastrointestinal, or GI tract. Think of this as a continuous muscular tube running from your mouth all the way to the anus.
Okay, one long tube.
Basically. This includes your mouth, pharynx, esophagus, stomach, small intestine, and large intestine.
And what's truly intriguing about this tube, you mentioned its length.
Yes, its dynamic nature. In a living person, because of muscle tone, it's about 16.5 to 23 feet long.
Wow.
But if you were to measure it in a cadaver, it stretches out to a surprising 23 to 29.5 feet.
That's a big difference. Why?
It's that muscle tone. It's a profound testament to your body's constant silent muscular effort. It underscores that even when you're completely still, your gut is a dynamic, active machine, never truly at rest.
That's a powerful way to think about it, a constant, silent effort. Now, besides that main tube, we have the accessory digestive organs.
Yes, these are your teeth, tongue, salivary glands, liver, gallbladder, and pancreas.
Okay, and here's a key insight you said.
Right. Most of these accessory organs, like, say, the liver or pancreas, never actually come into direct contact with the food you eat.
Really? So they don't touch the food?
Not directly. Yet their secretions, things like enzymes and bile, are absolutely vital for the chemical breakdown of that food as it moves through the GI tract. Without them, the whole process would just grind to a halt.
It sounds like a beautifully choreographed system, and it performs 6 core processes.
6 core processes, yeah. First, we have ingestion, which is simply taking food or liquid into your mouth.
Step 1.
Then comes secretion. And get this, your body releases about 7 liters, that's nearly 2 gallons of water, acid, buffers, and enzymes into your digestive tract every single day.
7 liters. Wow, that's incredible.
Isn't it? Next, there's mixing and propulsion, which is the physical churning and movement of food along the tract.
Gotta keep it moving.
Exactly. This ensures the food is well mixed with those secretions. Then comes digestion itself, which involves both mechanical breakdown, like chewing, stomach churning, and chemical breakdown, where enzymes do their work.
Okay, mechanical and chemical. Then what?
After that, we have absorption, which is the passage of those newly broken down nutrients from the GI tract into your blood or your lymphatic system.
Getting the good stuff out.
Precisely. And finally, defecation, the elimination of any indigestible wastes and unabsorbed materials in the body.
Right, getting rid of the leftovers. So that's the journey food takes. But how is this incredible pipeline built to handle all that work? You mentioned the walls.
Yes, let's zoom in on the very walls of your GI tract itself. From the esophagus all the way down to the anal canal, you'll find a remarkably consistent design. 4 fundamental layers.
4 layers, okay.
From the deepest, closest to the food to the superficial outer layer, You have the mucosa, submucosa muscularis, and serosa or adventitia.
Let's start deep. The mucosa.
The mucosa is the inner lining, the one in direct contact with your food. It has a rapidly renewing epithelial layer, which is quite remarkable if cells actually slow off and are replaced every 5 to 7 days.
Every week. Like a brand new lining.
Pretty much. Think of it as a constantly refreshed protective shield. This layer also contains specialized immune cells within what's called MALT, or mucosa-associated lymphatic tissue.
MALT-T, so it helps protect against bugs and things.
Exactly, helping to protect against ingested pathogens.
And then there's the muscularis, the muscle layer.
Right, the muscle layer that's responsible for all that mixing and propelling action we talked about.
And it changes along the way.
It does. What's truly clever here is how it adapts. In your mouth, pharynx, and parts of the esophagus and anus, it's made of voluntary skeletal muscle.
Meaning you control it, like chewing.
Right. You can consciously control actions like chewing and initiating a swallow. But throughout most of the tract, it transitions to involuntary smooth muscle, working tirelessly without you even thinking about it.
So this complex internal processing plant. But I heard something about the gut having its own brain. Is that right?
It's true. Well, sort of. The enteric nervous system, or ENS, is often called the brain of the gut.
The brain of the gut. Okay.
It's this intrinsic nerve network stretching all the way from your esophagus to your anus and contains about 100 million neurons.
100 million? That's huge.
It is. It's essentially an independent intelligence that can operate even if connections to your main brain are severed.
Wow. So how does this gut brain organize itself?
It's organized into 2 key networks, or plexuses. There's the myenteric plexus, which primarily controls the motility or movement of your GI, correct, that churning and pushing of food.
Okay, movement control.
Then you have the submucosal plexus, which largely regulates secretions, all those acids, buffers, and enzymes we just mentioned.
Controlling the juices.
Exactly. And while the ENS can function independently, it's also profoundly influenced by your external autonomic nervous system, or ANS.
Ah, the ANS. And this is where things like stress come in.
Precisely. Think about stress. When your parasympathetic nerves, like the big one, the vagus nerve, are active, they increase digestive activity, breath and digest.
Okay.
But sympathetic nerves, your fight or flight system, decrease it. This is why emotions like anger, fear, or anxiety can actually slow down your digestion. Stress quite literally ties your gut in knots.
That makes so much sense. Now, how is all this organized and protected inside us? You mentioned a membrane.
Yes, that leads us to the peritoneum. It's the largest serous membrane in the body. It's a continuous sheet that lines the abdominal cavity, that's the parietal peritoneum.
Okay, the lining.
And it also covers many of your organs, acting as their outer protective, wrapping the visceral peritoneum.
And it has folds.
It does, large folds. They're not just connecting tissues, they actually weave between your organs, binding them to each other and to the abdominal walls. And they're packed with blood vessels, lymphatic vessels, and nerves.
Like the greater omentum. I've heard of that.
Right, the greater omentum. It drapes over your organs like a fatty apron. It can expand quite a bit with weight gain.
Ah, the beer belly connection.
That's often part of it, yes. But beyond fat storage, it also contains lymph nodes that help fight off GI infections. So it's protective too.
Interesting. And there are other folds?
Yes, the falciform ligament, which is unique because the liver is the only digestive organ directly attached to the anterior abdominal wall by this structure.
Just the liver. Huh.
And for the intestines, the mesentery and mesocolon are these large fan-shaped folds that bind the small and large intestines, respectively, to the back wall, the posterior abdominal wall.
Holding them in place but allowing movement?
Exactly. They're often laden with fat, but they crucially hold these organs in place while still allowing them the necessary movement for digestion.
And if this peritoneum gets inflamed, that sounds serious.
It is. It's a severe condition called peritonitis, often due to infection. It really underscores how vital this protective, organizing blanket is for your overall health.
Okay, so with that overall picture, let's follow a bite of food, starting right at the beginning, the mouth.
The starting line. Your oral cavity is formed by your cheeks, lips, the palate's hard and soft, along with your tongue and teeth.
And the palates, they're pretty ingenious, right?
Absolutely. Their design, forming the roof of your mouth, is what actually makes it possible for you to chew and breathe simultaneously.
Otherwise, mealtime would be tricky.
Very awkward, yes.
Now, the salivary glands, the fluid factories.
That's a good way to put it. You have 3 major pairs: the parotid, submandibular, and sublingual glands.
And they make saliva, which is mostly water.
Mostly, about 99.5% water. But that remaining 0.5% of solutes is packed with purpose. You've got chloride ions activating salivary amylase.
That starts starch digestion.
Right. Bicarbonate and phosphate ions buffer acidic foods, protecting your teeth. Mucus lubricates your food into a soft ball, a bolus. And lysozyme even kills some bacteria.
And what triggers saliva? Just thinking about food.
That can do it. It's controlled by your autonomic nervous system. So thinking about food, seeing it, smelling it, or actually tasting and feeling it in your mouth all get those glands going.
Like Pavlov's dogs.
Exactly like that. Oh, and a quick clinical note. The mumps virus typically targets those parotid glands, causing that characteristic swelling.
Ah, okay. Now, the tongue, it does more than just taste, right?
Oh, much more. Its extrinsic muscles move food around for chewing and help shape it into that bolus. Its intrinsic muscles change the tongue's shape, which is vital for both speech and swallowing.
And that saying tongue-tied, is that real?
It is. It's a condition called ankyloglossia. It's caused by an abnormally short lingual frenulum, that little membrane under your tongue. It can actually impair speech and sometimes eating.
Fascinating. And then, of course, the teeth are grinders.
Are grinders, yes. Each tooth have a crown, the visible part, a root embedded in the jaw, and a neck where they meet. Internally, it's mostly dentin, but the crown is covered by enamel.
Which is super hard.
The hardest substance in the entire body. It's what protects your teeth from all the wear and tear.
And we get 2 sets of teeth.
We do. 20 deciduous or baby teeth,
Yeah.
followed by 32 permanent teeth. You've got incisors for cutting, canines for tearing.
Like little daggers.
Sort of. And then premolars and molars for crushing and grinding.
Now, here's a surprising fact you mentioned.
Yeah, yes. The permanent molars, including your wisdom teeth, don't actually replace any baby teeth. They simply erupt into the mouth behind the baby teeth as your jaw grows bigger.
So they just appear?
They just appear in the newly available space.
That is surprising. And speaking of wisdom teeth, they can cause problems.
They often do. A common issue is when they become impacted, meaning the jaw doesn't have enough room for them to erupt properly. Often needs surgical removal.
Ouch. Okay, so putting it all together, digestion in the mouth, what happens?
Mechanically, it's mastication or chewing. Your tongue manipulates the food, teeth grind it, mixes with saliva.
Forming that bolus.
Right, that soft, flexible mass.
Yeah.
Chemically, digestion starts with salivary amylase breaking down starches.
But didn't you mention another enzyme, lingual lipase?
Yes, crucial point. Lingual lipase is secreted in the mouth, but it only becomes activated in the acidic environment of the stomach.
So it waits.
It waits for the right conditions. Its real work begins after you swallow. It's like it's prepositioned for later action.
Okay, so the bolus is formed. Where next?
Off to the pharynx and esophagus, the critical pipeline to the stomach. The pharynx, your throat, serves both breathing and digestion, helping push food towards the esophagus.
And the esophagus itself. Just a tube.
Pretty much. A muscular tube, about 10 inches long. It's purely transport. No digestive enzymes produced. No absorption happens here.
But it has sphincters. Valves?
Yes, 2 important ones. The upper esophageal sphincter, or UES at the top, controlling entry from the pharynx. And the lower esophageal sphincter, or LES, down at the junction with the stomach.
And that LES is important for preventing heartburn.
Exactly. If the LES fails to close properly, stomach contents can reflux back up into the esophagus. This causes gastroesophageal reflux disease, GERD, but most people call it heartburn.
That burning feeling.
Right. It's stomach acid irritating the esophageal wall, not actually your heart, despite the name.
Okay, so the process of swallowing, deglutition, it's coordinated.
Remarkably coordinated. 3 phases. First, the voluntary stage. You consciously push the bolus to the back of your mouth with your tongue.
Okay, I do that.
Then the pharyngeal stage, which is involuntary. This is where things get clever. Your soft palate and uvula rise, blocking off your nasal cavity.
So food doesn't go up your nose?
Right. And crucially, the epiglottis, a little flap of cartilage, folds down over your larynx, your voice box opening.
Protecting the airway.
Absolutely. Prevents food from entering your windpipe. This also temporarily interrupts your breathing, a vital safety measure.
Good thing. Don't want food down the wrong pipe. And the final stage.
The esophageal stage, also involuntary. This is where peristalsis takes over. These are waves of muscle contraction that push the bolus down the esophagus.
Like squeezing toothpaste out of a tube.
That's a great analogy. Liquids pass super fast, maybe 1 second. Solids take a bit longer, usually 4 to 8 seconds. It's very efficient.
So down the esophagus and then boom, the stomach.
The stomach, which acts as this incredible mixing chamber and holding reservoir.
A holding tank.
Yeah, it's a J-shaped enlargement of the GI tract, connecting the esophagus to the small intestine. Its reservoir role is key. You can eat food much faster than your intestines can digest and absorb it.
So the stomach holds it and releases it slowly.
Exactly. Releasing small, manageable amounts.
Mhm.
When empty, it's maybe the size of a large sausage, but it's super distensible. Its inner lining has these large folds called rugae when empty.
Rugae, like wrinkles.
Sort of, yeah. They allow it to stretch significantly after a big meal.
And clinically, what if the exit valve, the pyloric sphincter, is too narrow?
That happens, especially in infants. It's called pyloric stenosis. The main symptom is often projectile vomiting. Really shows the force involved when things can't flow properly.
Wow. Okay, let's talk stomach secretions, the gastric glands.
Yes, the stomach lining is packed with these glands in deep pits. They house different cell types. First, you have surface mucus cells and mucus neck cells.
They make mucus.
They do. A thick alkaline mucus, maybe 1 to 3 millimeters thick. This forms a vital protective barrier. It literally stops your stomach from digesting itself.
That seems important.
Absolutely crucial. Then you have parietal cells. They produce 2 key things. Intrinsic factor.
For B12 absorption.
Correct. And hydrochloric acid, HCl.
Stomach acid.
The famous stomach acid. And the way it's made is fascinating. These parietal cells have proton pumps that actively push hydrogen ions, H+, into the stomach,
Pumping acid out.
essentially. And as a byproduct, bicarbonate ions enter your bloodstream. This can cause a slight temporary rise in blood pH after a meal, sometimes called the alkaline tide.
Huh. And the HCl itself, what does it do?
Is powerful, kills microbes in food, starts to unravel proteins, it denatures them, and even signals downstream, stimulating bile and pancreatic juice flow later on.
Okay. Other cells in those glands.
You have chief cells, which secrete pepsinogen, we'll get back to that, gastric lipase, and G cells, which secrete a hormone called gastrin.
So altogether, these glands make gastric juice.
Right, about 2 to 3 liters of gastric juice every single day.
That's a lot of juice. How does the stomach mix everything?
Through mechanical digestion, you get these continuous mixing waves, a sort of propulsion forward towards the exit, then retropulsion back. This turning action mixes the food thoroughly with the gastric juice
Turning it into?
into a soupy liquid called chyme.
Time. Okay. And this mixing is slow.
The emptying is slow. Gastric emptying is carefully controlled. Only about 3 milliliters of the chyme, like half a teaspoon, passes through the pyloric sphincter into the small intestine at a time.
Just a trickle. Why so slow?
To make sure the small intestine isn't overwhelmed, it needs time to process that acidic chyme properly.
Makes sense. Now, chemically, what's happening in the stomach? Salivary amylase stops working.
Yes, the acid inactivates it pretty quickly. But lingual lipase, remember that one from the mouth?
The one that was waiting.
That's the one. It gets activated by the stomach acid and starts digesting triglycerides, fats.
Okay, so some fat digestion starts here. What about protein?
That's the main event here, chemically speaking. The key enzyme is pepsin.
Which comes from pepsinogen, from the chief cells.
Exactly. Pepsin is secreted in that inactive form, pepsinogen, to prevent it from digesting the chief cells themselves. Smart design.
Very smart. So how does it become active pepsin?
It needs acid. Pepsinogen only becomes active pepsin when it hits the hydrochloric acid in the stomach lumen. Or, interestingly, if it bumps into other active pepsin molecules.
Okay, so pepsin starts breaking down proteins and gastric lipase.
It plays a minor role in fat digestion compared to what happens later in the small intestine.
And absorption. Does much get absorbed from the stomach?
Very little, actually. Mainly water, some ions, short-chain fatty acids, certain drugs like aspirin.
And alcohol.
And alcohol, yes, which leads to a useful tip for you. Eating fatty foods with alcohol can slow down gastric emptying.
Keeps the alcohol in the stomach longer.
Right, which means slower absorption into the bloodstream, potentially leading to lower peak blood alcohol levels. So that pizza with your beer, not just tasty, maybe a bit strategic metabolically.
Good to know. Okay, so that chyme, now partially digested, slowly leaves the stomach. Where does it go, and who helps next?
It enters the small intestine, but it needs major backup from our accessory organ trio, the pancreas, liver, and gallbladder.
The support crew. Let's start with the pancreas.
Okay. The pancreas is tucked away behind the stomach, sort of retroperitoneal. It's a real dual-purpose gland.
Meaning?
It has both exocrine functions, making digestive juices, and endocrine functions, making hormones like insulin.
Right. Let's focus on the digestive juices first. Pancreatic juice.
Yes. Specialized cells called acini cells produce about 1.2 to 1.5 liters of pancreatic juice daily.
Another 1.5 liters. What's special about this juice?
Its key feature is its alkalinity. It had a pH between 7.1 and 8.2 thanks to sodium bicarbonate.
Carbonate, like baking soda.
Chemically similar, yes. And it's crucial. It buffers that acidic chyme coming from the stomach.
Ah, neutralizing the acid.
Exactly. That stops the stomach enzyme pepsin from working and creates the perfect slightly alkaline pH needed for the enzymes in the small intestine to do their jobs.
And it's packed with enzymes.
Oh, yes. Enzymes for everything. Pancreatic amylase for starch, various protein-digesting enzymes like trypsin and chymotrypsin, pancreatic lipase, which is the main fat-digesting enzyme, and even nucleases for RNA and DNA.
Wow, a complete toolkit. And like pepsin, some are inactive first.
Yes, most of the protein-digesting ones, like trypsinogen, are secreted in inactive forms. Again, it's self-protection, preventing the pancreas from digesting itself.
Which can happen in pancreatitis.
Sadly, yes. In pancreatitis, those enzymes can become active prematurely within the pancreas, causing severe damage.
Okay, so it makes this potent juice. Where does it go?
Through the pancreatic duct. This duct usually joins up with the common bile duct, which comes from the liver and gallbladder.
So they team up.
They often do, forming a short tube called the hepatopancreatic ampulla. This then enters the first part of the small intestine, the duodenum, and the opening is controlled by a muscular valve.
Another sphincter.
Yep, the sphincter of Oddi. It carefully controls the flow of both pancreatic juice and bile into the intestine.
Okay, pancreas covered. Next up, the liver. The metabolic superpower.
That's a good description. It's the heaviest gland and the second largest organ in your body. Only skin is larger.
And inside, what's the structure like?
It's incredibly organized. The main functional cells are hepatocytes. They're arranged in intricate structures, along with tiny bile channels called canaliculi and special capillaries called hepatic sinusoids.
Sinusoids, like leaky capillaries.
Very leaky, yes. This allows intimate contact between the blood and the hepatocytes. And within these sinusoids, you find specialized immune cells called Kupffer cells.
What do they do?
They're phagocytic. They eat up worn-out blood cells, bacteria, and other foreign stuff that might have come from the gut, like little security guards.
Okay. And the liver's blood supply is unique.
Very unique. It gets oxygenated blood like other organs via the hepatic artery. But to me, it also gets nutrient-rich, deoxygenated blood directly from the GI tract via the hepatic portal vein.
Portal vein. So blood from the intestines goes straight to the liver.
Exactly. This dual supply means the liver gets the first pass at processing all those nutrients you just absorbed. It's central command for metabolism.
But that also means bad stuff can go there too.
Unfortunately, yes. It makes the liver a common site for cancer to spread, metastasize, from the GI tract.
Right. Okay, back to digestion. The liver's main digestive job is
Bile production. It secretes about 800 to 1,000 milliliter, almost a liter, of bile every day.
bile. What's in it? What does it do?
The key components for digestion are bile salts. They are amphipathic,
Amphipathic, meaning
meaning they have a water-loving end and a fat-loving end. This unique structure lets them break down large fat globules into much smaller ones. It's called emulsification.
like detergent breaking up grease.
Exactly like that.
Yeah.
This vastly increases the surface area for pancreatic lipase to attack the fats, which is crucial for fat digestion and absorption.
So bile doesn't digest fat, it just prepares it.
Precisely. It prepares it for digestion by lipase. Bile also helps excrete bilirubin.
Bilirubin from red blood cells gives feces their color.
Correct. Bilirubin is a breakdown product of humble from old red blood cells. The liver processes it and excretes it into bile. Bacteria in the large intestine convert it further, leading to the brown color of feces.
And if that process goes wrong, jaundice.
Yes. If bilirubin builds up in the blood, it causes jaundice, that yellowish tint to the skin and eyes. It can happen for various reasons, like liver disease or blocked bile ducts. It's also fairly common in newborns because their liver enzyme systems aren't fully mature yet.
Okay. And the liver does tons of other metabolic stuff too, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's a metabolic maestro. Maintaining blood glucose levels, making cholesterol and lipoproteins, processing drugs and hormones, storing vitamins like A, D, E, K, and B12, storing minerals like iron and copper, activating vitamin D. The list goes on and on.
Truly a superpower. Okay, last of the trio. The gallbladder.
The gallbladder. A small, pear-shaped sac nestled right under the liver.
And its job is?
Simple but important. It stores and concentrates the bile made by the liver. It can concentrate bile up to tenfold.
Wow, so it holds on to it until needed.
Exactly. When fat enters the duodenum, signals are sent, the gallbladder contracts, and squirts that concentrated bile down the common bile duct into the small intestine.
And sometimes things go wrong here too. Gallstones.
Yes, gallstones are a common issue. They're usually formed from crystallized cholesterol within the bile. They can block bile flow, causing pain and other problems, and often requires surgical removal of the gallbladder, a cholecystectomy.
Okay, so with help from the pancreas, liver, and gallbladder, the chyme enters the main event, the small intestine.
The absorption powerhouse. This is where most digestion and virtually all nutrient absorption happens. It averages about 10 feet long in a living person.
10 feet. And it has sections.
3 regions.
Yeah.
The duodenum, which receives the chyme and digestive juices. The jejunum, where most absorption occurs. And the ileum, the final section, which connects to the large intestine of the ileocecal sphincter.
And what makes it such an absorption powerhouse? Surface area.
Massive surface area. It has several incredible adaptations. First, circular folds, or plicae circularis. These aren't temporary, like stomach rugae. They're permanent folds of the lining.
What do?
They force the chyme to spiral as it moves through, kind of like speed bumps, increasing contact time with the intestinal wall and boosting surface area.
Clever. What else?
Projecting from these folds are millions of tiny, finger-like structures called villi. They give the lining a velvety appearance.
Villi. And they have capillaries inside.
Yes, each villus contains a network of blood capillaries for absorbing most nutrients, and crucially, a single lymphatic capillary called a lacteal, specifically for absorbing digested fats.
Lacteal for fats. Got it. And it gets even smaller.
It does. The cells covering the villi have their own microscopic projections called microvilli. These form what's known as the brush border.
Brush border. How many microvilli are we talking?
Get this, an estimated 200 million microvilli per square millimeter.
Per square millimeter. That's astronomical.
It's almost unbelievable, isn't it? This massive increase creates a truly vast surface area for nutrient diffusion and absorption. It's hyper-efficient engineering.
Absolutely mind-blowing. And these microvilli have enzymes.
Yes. The brush border enzymes are embedded right in the membrane of the microvilli. This is brilliant because it means the very final steps of digestion happen exactly where absorption takes place. No wasted transport time.
Right there on the spot. Does the intestine itself secrete anything?
It does. Intestinal glands secrete intestinal juice, which is mostly water and mucus. These glands also contain Paneth cells that secrete lysozyme, an antibacterial enzyme.
More defense?
And in the duodenum, special Brunner's glands secrete an alkaline mucus to help neutralize that stomach acid right as it enters.
Okay, incredible structure. How does food move and mix here, mechanically?
Mechanically, the main thing is segmentations. These are localized mixing contractions. Imagine pinching off segments of the intestine and churning the contents back and forth within that segment.
So mixing, not moving forward.
Primarily mixing, yes. They slosh the chyme back and forth, mixing it with digestive juices and bringing it constantly into contact with that absorptive mucosal surface. They don't really propel the contents along the tract.
So how does stuff eventually move out of the small intestine?
After most absorption is done, a different pattern starts. The migrating motility complex, or MMC. These are slow, sweeping peristaltic waves that start near the stomach and move down the intestine.
Like a cleanup crew.
Exactly. They push any remaining chyme and debris forward into the large intestine, effectively clearing the small intestine. This cycle repeats every 90 to 120 minutes during fasting periods.
Okay. Chemical digestion here. It's a team effort.
Definitely. Pancreatic juice, bile, and the intestinal brush border enzymes all work together.
Let's break it down. Carbohydrates.
Pancreatic amylase continues breaking down starches into smaller chains.
Yeah.
But the final breakdown into absorbable single sugars, monosaccharides, like glucose, fructose, galactose, happens right at the brush border.
By enzymes like lactase, sucrose?
Exactly. Lactase breaks down lactose, milk sugar. Sucrose breaks down sucrose, table sugar. Maltase breaks down maltose. This is where lactose intolerance comes in.
Ah, not enough lactase.
Right. If you don't produce enough lactase, lactose isn't broken down or absorbed. It passes to the large intestine, where bacteria ferment it, producing gas, bloating, and discomfort.
Okay. Proteins.
Pancreatic enzymes like trypsin and chymotrypsin continue breaking proteins into smaller peptides. Then, brush border peptidases, like aminopeptidase and dipeptidase, finish the job, snipping off or splitting peptides into single amino acids, which are then absorbed.
Single amino acids, got it. And lipids, fats. This is where bile comes in big time.
Yes. First, bile salts emulsify the large fat globules. Then, pancreatic lipase attacks the triglycerides in these smaller droplets, breaking them down mainly into fatty acids and monoglycerides.
Okay, broken down. How do they get absorbed? They don't like water.
They don't. This is where bile salts play another role. They form tiny spheres called micelles around the fatty acids and monoglycerides.
Micelles, like little transport pods.
Exactly. These water-soluble micelles ferry the fats to the surface of the absorptive cells. The fats diffuse out of the micelle and into the cell.
Clever. What happens inside the cell?
They get reassembled. The fatty acids and monoglycerides are put back together into triglycerides. Then, these triglycerides, along with some cholesterol and proteins, are packaged into large spheres called chylomicrons.
Chylomicrons. And these are too big for blood capillaries.
Correct. So instead, they enter the lacteals, those specialized lymphatic capillaries within the villi.
Ah, they take the lymph route.
Right. They travel through the lymphatic system and eventually enter the bloodstream near the heart via the thoracic duct, bypassing the liver initially.
That's a fascinating journey for fats. And the bile salts, are they just lost?
Nope. The body is very efficient. Most bile salts are reabsorbed further down in the ileum and returned to the liver via the portal vein to be secreted again. This recycling pathway is called enterohepatic circulation.
Recycling bile. Very efficient. So absorption overall, 90% happens here.
About 90% of all nutrient and water absorption occurs in the small intestine. Monosaccharides, amino acids, water, electrolytes mostly go into the blood capillaries in the villi.
And the fats, via chylomicrons, into the lacteals.
Precisely. And your body absorbs a huge amount of fluid here too, about 8.3 liters a day, mostly water following the absorbed nutrients by osmosis.
Incredible. So after the small intestine has done its main job, what's left moves on.
What's left moves on to the final stage, the large intestine.
The large intestine. Waste management and final absorption.
That's a good summary. It's the final section of the GI tract, about 5 feet long. Its main jobs are completing water absorption, producing certain vitamins via bacteria, forming feces, and then elimination.
Okay. What are its parts?
It starts with a cecum, a pouch where the small intestine joins. Attached to the cecum is the appendix, that little finger-like projection.
Which can get inflamed appendicitis.
Correct. Then you have the colon, which has 4 parts.
Ascending.
Ascending, going up, transverse across, descending going down, and sigmoid, S-shaped. After the sigmoid colon comes the rectum, and finally the anal canal.
And the anal canal has sphincters, too.
Yes, an involuntary internal anal sphincter made of smooth muscle and a voluntarily controlled external anal sphincter made of skeletal muscle. You control that one.
Right. Structurally, it's different from the small intestine. Less folded.
Much less adapted for absorption. No circular folds, no villi, although the absorptive cells do have microvilli, but it has unique muscular features.
Like the tenia alae.
Yes, the outer longitudinal muscle layer is concentrated into 3 thick bands called teniacolae. These bands are shorter than the intestine itself, so they cause it to bunch up.
Creating pouches.
Exactly, creating these characteristic pouches called haustra.
Haustra. Okay. How does stuff move here, mechanically?
Mostly through haustral churning. The haustra distend as they fill, then contract, squeezing the contents into the next haustrum. It's a slow mixing process.
Slow mixing. Anything faster.
Yes, mass peristalsis. These are strong waves of contraction that start maybe mid-transverse colon and quickly drive the contents much further down, usually into the rectum.
When does that happen?
Typically 3 or 4 times a day, often triggered by food entering the stomach that's called the gastrocolic reflex. It's that urge to defecate you might feel after a meal.
Ah, the gastrocolic reflex. Makes sense. Now, chemical digestion. Does the large intestine make enzymes?
No, it doesn't secrete any digestive enzymes. Chemical digestion here is entirely due to bacteria.
Our gut microbiome.
Our gut microbiome in action. Billions of bacteria live in the colon. They ferment any remaining carbohydrates.
Reducing gas.
Yes, producing gases like hydrogen, carbon dioxide, methane, what we commonly call flatus. They also break down remaining proteins and amino acids.
Contributing to odor?
Contributing to the odor of feces, yes. And they decompose bilirubin into the pigments that give feces their brown color.
And they do something useful too, right? Vitamins.
Absolutely. They synthesize some important B vitamins and, crucially, vitamin K, which your body then absorbs. Vitamin K is vital for blood clotting.
So the bacteria are actually helpful.
Very helpful in many ways.
Okay, absorption here is mainly water.
Mostly water, yes. The large intestine absorbs most of the remaining water, maybe 0.9 liters a day, along with ions like sodium and chloride. This solidifies the remaining material into feces.
So by the end, only about 0.1 liters of water is left in the feces.
Roughly, yes. Feces end up being composed of water, some inorganic salts, slept off epithelial cells from the GI lining, lots of bacteria, and indigestible parts of food like fiber.
And elimination, the defecation reflex.
Right. When mass peristalsis pushes feces into the rectum wall stretches. This triggers stretch receptors, sending signals to the spinal cord.
Initiating a reflex.
Yes, an involuntary reflex that causes the rectal muscles to contract and, importantly, relaxes the internal anal sphincter.
But we can control the external one.
Yes. The signal also goes to the brain, giving you conscious awareness of the need to defecate. You can then voluntarily relax the external anal sphincter to allow defecation, or consciously contract it to postpone it.
Postponement is good sometimes, and this brings up fiber. Why is it important for you?
Dietary fiber is huge for large intestine health. Insoluble fiber adds bulk to the stool, speeding up transit time and helping prevent constipation. Soluble fiber dissolves in water, forms gels, and can be fermented by bacteria.
So both types are good.
Yes, good fiber intake helps prevent constipation, hemorrhoids, and diverticular disease, where pouches form in the colon wall. Soluble fiber can also help lower cholesterol by binding to bile salts and promoting their excretion.
And one more clinical point, occult blood.
Yes, testing for occult blood, hidden blood in the stool, is a really important screening tool for colorectal cancer, as polyps or tumors can bleed slightly long before causing other symptoms.
Okay, vital screening. So we've seen the whole journey. How does your body orchestrate all this, making sure everything happens at the right time?
It's beautifully orchestrated, mainly through neural and hormonal signals, operating in 3 overlapping phases.
3 phases. What's first?
First is the cephalic phase. Cephalic means head. This phase prepares the mouth and stomach for food before it even arrives.
The head start.
Exactly. It's triggered by the smell, sight, thought, or even the initial taste of food. Neural centers in your brain get activated.
Like your cerebral cortex, hypothalamus.
Right. They send signals down, particularly via the vagus nerves, stimulating your salivary glands to produce saliva and your gastric glands to start secreting gastric juice.
So your stomach starts prepping before the food even gets there.
Yes. Your mouth waters, your stomach gets ready. You've probably felt this happen.
Definitely. Okay, phase 2, when food arrives.
That's the gastric phase. This starts once food actually enters the stomach. Now, the goal is to promote gastric secretion and motility.
How is this regulated? Nerves.
Both nerves and hormones. Neural regulation happens when the stomach walls stretch as food enters, or when the pH changes because food proteins buffer the acid. Stretch receptors and chemoreceptors are activated,
Sending signals.
sending signals within the stomach's own nerve plexuses and also back to the brainstem via the vagus nerve, leading to more peristalsis and more gastric juice release. This is a positive feedback loop initially.
And hormones. You mentioned gastrin earlier.
Yes, gastrin is the key hormone in the gastric phase. It's released by G cells in the stomach in response to stretching or partially digested proteins and caffeine.
What does gastrin do?
It's a major stimulator. It causes parietal cells to secrete more HCl, chief cells to secrete pepsinogen, increases stomach motility, and relaxes the pyloric sphincter slightly, promoting stomach emptying.
But it doesn't just keep going forever, right?
No, there's a crucial negative feedback. If the stomach pH drops too low, below about 2, gastrin secretion is inhibited. This prevents the stomach from becoming excessively acidic.
Smart regulation. Okay, phase 3, when food leaves the stomach.
Exactly. The intestinal phase begins once chyme starts to enter the duodenum, the first part of the small intestine. This phase has sort of opposing effects compared to the gastric phase.
How so?
Its main goals are to control the rate of stomach emptying, preventing the duodenum from being overloaded, and to promote the continued digestion of the food that has entered the intestine. It mostly slows down stomach activity.
Okay, slowing things down. Neural control first.
Yes, the enterogastric reflex. When the duodenum stretches or detects fatty acids or glucose in the chyme, it sends inhibitory signals back to the stomach.
What do these signals do?
They decrease gastric motility and contract the pyloric sphincter more tightly, effectively putting the brakes on stomach emptying.
Makes sense. Gives the duodenum time to cope. And
Right.
hormones.
2 key hormones released by the small intestine itself are crucial here. Cholecystokinin, CCK, and secretin.
CCK and secretin. What triggers them?
CCK is secreted mainly in response to chyme, containing amino acids from protein digestion and fatty aldehydes from fat digestion. Secretin is secreted primarily in response to acidic chyme entering the duodenum.
Okay, CCK for fats and proteins, secretin for acid. What do they do?
CCK has several effects. It stimulates the secretion of pancreatic juice that's rich in enzymes. It causes the gallbladder to contract, squeezing out bile. It relaxes the sphincter of Oddi, allowing bile and pancreatic juice to enter the duodenum.
And it affects the stomach, too.
Yes. CCK also slows gastric emptying by acting on the pyloric sphincter, and interestingly, it acts on the brain to promote satiety, that feeling of fullness.
Ah, so fat and protein make you feel full, partly because of CCK.
That's a big part of it. Now, secretin's main job is to combat the acid. It stimulates the flow of pancreatic juice that's rich in bicarbonate.
To neutralize the stomach acid.
Precisely. It also inhibits secretion of gastric juice back in the stomach. So CCK focuses on enzyme and biorelease, while secretin focuses on buffering the acid.
A coordinated response? Are there other hormones involved?
Oh yes, many others. Hormones like ghrelin, produced mainly by the stomach when it's empty, actually increases appetite. Then you have incretins like GIP and GLP-1 released from the intestine after a meal.
Incretins, what do they do?
Fascinating. They link digestion directly to blood sugar control by stimulating the pancreas to release insulin even before blood glucose levels rise significantly. It's like an early warning system. All these hormones show the incredible complexity and fine-tuning involved.
It really is a symphony of signals. Okay, to wrap up, let's briefly touch on development and aging. How does this system form?
It starts very early in embryonic development from the primitive gut tube, which forms from the endoderm layer. This endoderm gives rise to the epithelial lining and glands.
And the muscles and connective tissue.
Those come from the surrounding mesoderm layer. The primitive gut differentiates into foregut, midgut, and hindgut, which develop into the specific regions, stomach, intestines, etc. And the accessory organs like the liver, pancreas, and salivary glands bud off from this early gut tube. It's fundamental.
And as we age, what happens?
There are general changes. Secretory mechanisms tend to decrease, so maybe less saliva, less gastric juice. Motility can slow down. There can be a loss of muscle tone in the GI tract and sphincters.
Leading to more potential problems?
Yes, certain challenges often become more common with age. Things like decreased sense of taste, maybe more difficulty swallowing dysphagia, increased likelihood of ulcers or GERD, potential for malabsorption, more frequent constipation, hemorrhoids, diverticular disease.
And cancer risk?
And unfortunately, the risk of colorectal cancer does increase significantly with age, which really highlights why screening, like those occult blood tests or colonoscopies, becomes so important later in life. Consistent attention to digestive health is key throughout life.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Wow. And there you have it, a whirlwind deep dive into your digestive system.
It's quite the journey, isn't it? We hope this discussion has revealed it as the marvel of engineering it truly is. It's this highly integrated, self-regulating network, far more complex and, frankly, fascinating than just a simple tube.
You definitely have a deeper understanding now of that silent, tireless orchestra working within you, taking every meal and converting it into the fuel you need to live.
It really is working away constantly.
So the next time you savor a meal, maybe pause for just a second. Consider that silent, tireless orchestra working inside you, breaking down, extracting, absorbing, powering your very existence. What new questions does this understanding spark for you about your body's incredible capabilities?
And that's a wrap for today's episode of the Study with Anabia podcast. I really hope our discussion on the digestive system made anatomy and physiology a little clearer and maybe even a little more fun for you. If you found this episode helpful, don't forget to follow the podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you're listening. And if you're here on YouTube, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you'll never miss our next session. Also, don't keep this knowledge to yourself. Share it with your classmates and friends. Trust me, studying together makes the journey so much easier. You could even quiz each other on what we covered today. It's a great way to learn faster. And let's be honest, nothing bonds friends like last-minute exam prep and anatomy diagrams, right? But in all seriousness, my goal here is to make learning a little easier, a little clearer, and maybe even a little more enjoyable for you. So until next time, keep learning, keep growing. And remember, knowledge is the best investment you can make in yourself. This is Anabia, signing off. See you in the next episode.